I just built out the same website using the same prompt with 3 different AI coding tools, and I'm going to share the results so that hopefully it helps you figure out which tool you want to proceed with. If you're new to watching my videos, my name is Meg, and I'm a non-technical person who teaches small businesses and individuals how to leverage the best available tools to do meaningful work with less effort. So here's the prompt we're working with for this video. Basically, I'm going to create a directory website for coffee shops in Marin County, California. This is just for demo purposes, but this is truly something that I want to see myself because I'm always trying to find a new coffee shop in this county that I live in, and I think it would be super useful. I'm going to drop this prompt in the description, a link to this prompt. But basically, we are asking it to create the directory for us, a React implementation with these core features, this certain data structure. We're going to ask it for some sample data. Then we have technical requirements, components needed, design guidelines. If you're not sure what this means at this point, don't fret because it's going to work. I think it's really important to understand the code that this is generating, and that just comes with practice. 3 months ago, when I first started doing this, I didn't know what really any of this meant. I didn't know what React meant. I didn't know what Tailwind meant. But over time, when you keep looking at the code that it's generating, you start to learn these things, and then you start to ask questions too. Ask AI questions, at least in my case. And that's how I've been able to learn all this. So just adopt a learning mindset and you'll go very far with this. Here are the tools that I'll be testing with the same prompt. We have bolt.new. I'm using the free plan. We're using lovable.dev, also on the free plan. And then we have Cursor AI, which I do have the $20 plan for, but you can do a 2-week trial for free. So you can try this if you decide that that's the one you want to use. So I'll get things started just by pasting that entire text prompt. It's all just natural language. I'm going to be putting it into each AI tool and just pressing enter. So it's going side by side right now, and they're all going to start just building them out. Okay, so after about 2 minutes, bolt.new came up with this, and I want to walk through it. I decided it would be easier to show you each result from each tool instead of having them all side by side so you can see the full screen. It ran into the rate limit after it was done building. So that was the extent of the free plan, but I'm pretty impressed with what it was able to accomplish. And if you look at this, the landing page, we have a light box that comes out with each coffee shop. So it's definitely functional. If you just needed a functional site, then you could get to that in a single text prompt. I would definitely want to improve this and edit some things. So either you could pay for bolt.new to continue talking with this agent on the left in the chat, or what I usually do is export this, download it to my computer, and then continue working on it in cursor.ai because you have more granular control over the code. But I'm not a coder, so I still am just using either the chat, which is you're able to work on a section at a time, or you could use the composer, which is similar to what's happening here in Bolt, which is an AI agent. Essentially, that means it will compose a plan for you and execute that plan as long as you say yes or no to whatever it proposes based on your request. This has a cool neighborhood drop down. You could even use the list function. Wow, and it already works right off the bat. So that's pretty good. It does not have a functional header or footer component yet, so that's usually what I would add here. But again, I hit the rate limit. You could also connect it to Supabase so that you can use real data for all of these coffee cards. And then tons more improvement, but let's move on to Lovable and see what that did. So Lovable got a little bit further than Bolt did. So not only did it create the directory, but I still had some responses or requests that I could ask in the chat. And so I said, well, first it did run into an error. And so I just pressed fix this with AI, I think, and it fixed that. It was an error with the coffee shop card component, which is this thing. It hadn't correctly imported that. So it fixed itself and it was able to show me this. So I said add a navigational menu header and footer. So that's why you can see this up here and then the footer down here. And that was a simple text prompt, but it was able to work within the context of what was in my site and actually give me a plausible footer within the context of my site. So I thought that was pretty good. And then I said create a page template for each coffee shop. So it created an entire page template that I could click each one and it would actually show me the individual page listing as opposed to the lightbox in bolt.new. And for SEO purposes, this is better to have an actual page for it. I don't think initially it didn't actually show me that page. So I said, I do not see this properly linked. Demo one for Equator Coffees. And it not only did it demo it for Equator, but it worked for now all of my individual directory listings. One thing it didn't do that bolt.new did was put in placeholder images from Unsplash, which is a free stock image site. But I wouldn't even want stock images here. I would want real images from the coffee shops. So I'll deal with that in Supabase to figure out how I do want to import these images for each directory listing. And then the last request I had was make the search bar functional. So this does in fact work. I could put in a neighborhood. Well, I thought it worked. This is probably, okay, this filter does work, but I guess this, what would this say? Like breakfast? So I could search and filter by the different filters that it has on here, and it does work. Let's see, wine bar. Okay, that does work. Cool. I would want to improve this later and make it searchable by the city instead also, or neighborhood. And then there I ran into the rate limit. So that was the extent of what I could do on the free plan with Lovable. But of course you could subscribe and then pay for it and then continue working within lovable.dev. The first thing that I would probably do is connect it to Supabase and then connect the real-time listings that I actually want to put here. This is just essentially the framework and to make it as functional as I can before I take it out and work on all the specific features like the map. I would put in a Google Maps API key probably so that the map would actually work and continue iterating on it. Okay, finally we have Cursor AI, which I use pretty frequently, but I have never started a project from scratch in Cursor AI, and now I understand why I've never done that, because despite putting in the same exact prompt here, it wanted me to make certain files on my computer, which I just didn't really feel comfortable with, and it felt a lot more technical. And being a non-technical person, I just wanted to kind of have that starter template that bolt.new and Lovable offers that I could just download to my computer and work on from there. Wasn't able to get the dev server running. It said that the application would be available, but I tried it and it was trying to get me to set up a Next.js project, and I just figured I could probably do that, but it's more trouble than it's actually worth at this point, and don't recommend it using Cursor AI to start off if you're not a technical person. Okay, so I'm glad I ran through that because I think it's confirmed that the current workflow that I have using bolt.new or lovable.dev, and then taking that into Cursor is the current best approach. At least for me, you can make the decision yourself. I have some builds explaining how exactly I do that and why I do that, so I'll leave it at that if you want to go check out those other videos. I appreciate you watching, and I'm going to leave some resources in the description. I'll see you in the next video.